Were you surprised to learn that the Remain campaign is funded by Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan?
Well, as the Pope a Catholic, I wasn't surprised at all that Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs and all the other buccaneer privateers should be backing the Remain campaign and backing it with their money, or maybe it's our money, who knows, our money and their money is rather mixed up now. I wasn't surprised about that at all. I just learned that one of the companies that has poured a fortune into the Remain campaign is making part of that fortune from building the apartheid wall to keep the Palestinians behind the wall in the occupied territories. Every rotten, rapacious, exploiting capitalist corporation is striving might and main to persuade working people in Britain that they should vote to remain in the European Union. If that doesn't make you smell a rat, I mean, what would? These are giant rats and they're running around in front of you. And after all they've done to you, leading up to the crash and since the crash, why on earth, unless you were one of them, would you take their advice on this? No, the fact that these people are so determined to keep us in the European Union ought to make working people whose interests are entire and separate from the interests of these big bankers think twice before they vote alongside them on June the 23rd.
What has the financial crisis, and Greece in particular, taught us about the EU and how it operates?
Well, they have a legal definition of what your current account deficit can be. They have a legal definition of what your levels of public debt can be. And if you breach them, you'll be crushed. And therefore, they have outlawed not just socialism, they have outlawed Keynesianism, the very thing that saved us from the utter destruction of the Depression of the 1930s. FDR would be acting illegally if the United States had been in the European Union. What's all this talk of running up debts in order to kickstart economic activity? Not allowed under the terms of the European Union. No, you know, we always said on the left that people on the right know the price of everything and the value of nothing. The one thing you can be sure they know the price of, and that's money. And they believe that money makes the world go round. Sensible economists realize that money is merely the oil which allows the wheels to turn. Now, we have acknowledged that implicitly by the gigantic quantity of quantitative easing that us and the Americans and all governments actually have been engaged in since the crash in 2008. This proves that money is nothing. You can just create it. You just run the printing presses and it runs off. And the new money helps either to avert further catastrophe or preferably to kickstart economic activity. At one and the same time, they're involved in quantitative easing, yet crushing Greece for attempting to postpone the repayment of debts which the current Greek people and Greek government never borrowed in the first place. This shows the madness of finance capitalism. I think capitalism in general is bonkers, but the financial capitalist model, which Britain and the United States are at the front of, is literally madness.